Hello and welcome back to Partometer, where today I'm trying Bon Appetit's New England lobster roll recipe. Purely because it's my first time with lobster and I wanted to try something which is super simple and sort of showcases the flavours and textures that the lobster brings. Starting with a large pot of boiling water and adding enough salt for it to taste like the sea. Now with lobsters, prep is everything, so keep everything that you need ready. Also, very importantly, you're going to need some towels and a very sharp knife. A chef's knife is actually perfect for this. Now I went to my local fish market and picked up these stunning lobsters, which are about 700 to 800 grams each. So not huge, but still very expensive, coming in at about £20 each, which for me I think will be a once in a blue moon purchase if I'm completely honest. Either way, I bought them still live because with anything that comes from the sea, especially with shellfish, the quality and freshness starts to rapidly decline as soon as it dies. And freezing seafood is always a bad idea, especially if you want to experience what you're eating. So these are kept alive, kept on ice, and they are okay to stay in the back of your fridge for about 2 to 3 days. But top tip here, before doing anything, if your lobsters are quite active, just spend a couple of minutes stroking its head. It'll really calm them down quite quickly actually, and eventually they just fall asleep. Now, killing lobsters is quite controversial. Some prefer just dumping it into hot water and some prefer using a knife through the head. I did a bunch of research, reading a bunch of different studies from a bunch of different universities, and I came to the conclusion that the most humane way would be to use a knife and dump it into boiling water just as fast as possible while it's still asleep. You'll see there's naturally a cross on the head of the lobster, and that's where the tip of your very sharp knife will rest. Make sure you grab the tail with a towel and hold it down securely. Then in a swift and most importantly a confident strike, push the blade through the head and chop it straight down. This will immediately kill the lobster in itself, and then just straight away put it into a pot of that boiling water. We want to cook it for about 4 minutes per 400 grams of weight. While that's doing its thing, we're going to start to prepare the dressing. Starting off by chopping 1 stalk of celery, then just dicing it up finely, aiming for about 1/4 cup. Then adding about a tablespoon of finely chopped chives, on top of which roughly 1/4 cup of whole mayonnaise, which will act as a creamy base, on top of which we're going to zest 1 lemon. Make sure you don't zest the white pith because the bitterness will stand out a lot in this recipe. So about a teaspoon's worth of zest in total, then just rolling out the lemon on your worktop, just making it easier to juice. You want to add in about a teaspoon's worth of lemon juice. Don't overdo it because it'll make the dressing too runny and it won't stick to the lobster. And I know it doesn't look like a lot, but we just want the lobster to be lightly coated, so it's actually perfect. Now, once your lobster's done, it should be bright red and the tail should be curled and sort of stiff. You want to start by taking this apart gently by twisting and tugging at its tail. Then you want to take off its claws, again twisting where you feel resistance, then just pop it right off. Now this is a messy affair, so keep your work surface tidy and follow suit with the legs. On the underside of the tail, there'll be little flippers which just get in the way, so get rid of those too. And then just I guess I'm just waiting for somebody to put something on Instagram. Then gently just squeeze the tail in your hand till you hear the shell snap. The underside soft shell should be disconnected from the larger shell. I like to peel out that undershell completely. This just allows the meat to fall right out into one piece. Now we have this stunning piece of tail meat, just wiggle it out of the end shell. Now with the claws, just follow suit. Bend it where you feel some resistance, then just bend some more. There are 3 stunning pieces, the claw itself, the knuckle and the arm. Now onto the claw itself, just play puppet for a bit to loosen the bottom claw, then just shimmy it from side to side and you should be able to pull it right out. Clean up all that water and lobster blood, which incidentally is clear, just to make the work area safe before we start extracting the meat from the claws. Now use the back of your heavy knife, stand the claw up and crack down into the shell. You'll want to hit hard and heavy, then just prise it open. Hopefully you'll get a nice clean break. If not, you can just carefully go in with a pair of kitchen scissors and snip the shell off. Just be careful not to damage the meat too much because you want to retain its texture. Then use the scissors on the knuckle too. I find a solid pair of scissors makes very quick work of the harder, smaller bits. And if all goes well, you'll be left with this amazing little nugget which has some incredible flavour. Now a lot of people would actually just stop there, but if you are paying top dollar for lobster, then get everything you can from it. You want to snip just below the top joint of the legs, then take a rolling pin from the other end, press down firmly and just roll it out. the meat will squeeze itself out like toothpaste. It's kind of weird but kind of cool. Now, to clean up the tail, I like to make small diagonal incisions on the underside of the tail just to counter the curl so it lays flat. Then along the middle, you want to make an incision along the length. Then just open it up like a book to reveal some gross stomach lining. Then just carefully lift it all out and throw it away. Now, with lobster or any shellfish, you never want to wash the meat. You'll lose all that incredible flavour and water it down. So just use a clean, slightly damp towel and wipe away anything that's not supposed to be there. And just trim off any bits that can't be cleaned. Now, you should be left with this amazing whole lobster, shelled almost professionally. Once you're done contemplating whether you should be on MasterChef, we're going to chop the lobster into medium-sized chunks. Now, we want to know that we're eating lobster, so don't go too small, substantial enough to hold up in a salad. Take all of that incredible meat and throw it into your dressing and toss it around so everyone gets nice and coated. Then I'm going in with a good pinch of white pepper and a dash a little bigger than suggested by Bon Appetit, not to turn it into something spicy but just enough to bring some depth. And then give it a final mix before you start assembling this incredible dish. Now, I didn't have access to any of those open-faced buns that they used. I just had to get a regular hot dog bun and sliced off each side. Now leaving this amazing open-faced bun, which of course we're going to toast in some butter. So grab a pan on a medium-high heat and melt some salted butter into it, then press those buns face down. It'll soak up some of the butter and become beautifully golden brown, and it'll just hum along with the flavour of that lobster. Make sure you do toast both sides. Now just snapping off some of the white bitter stem from the baby gem lettuce, creating a bed in the roll which is going to stop the bread from becoming soggy from the filling. Then just spoon on some of that incredible dressed lobster, top it off with a garnish of chives, and okay, well, we waited too long for this video, so I don't blame my cousin for doing that. Some amazing, refreshing and punchy flavours, not at all fishy, but flavours like I've never had before. It's hard to describe. Thank you for liking, commenting, and of course subscribing. Just share this video around if you want to. Happy cooking.